Hello again, home educators at home because of the coronavirus. This is Dr. Edward Mooney here, and I've got another one of my teachable moments. In this series, I'm trying to give you ideas, tips, motivation, anything I can do to help you with your teaching at home. Again, I was a 25-year high school and middle school teacher, and for the last number of years, I've been a professor of teacher education, teaching teachers how to teach. So I've come up with a lot of non-academic videos to help you find a way to help your child through these weeks of quarantine and self-isolation. Today's topic, for lack of a better term, would be teacher secrets. What I mean by this is these are little things that could really help you at home. Well, here's one that I came up with earlier today. The idea of team teaching. Over the years, I've had a great opportunity to share a classroom with another teacher, and it's been really good because sometimes that other teacher has better skills in a certain area than I do. For example, when I was teaching physical science, my bachelor's and master's were in earth sciences, and I had a friend who had a background in physics. So there were times when we'd switch back and forth depending on what the subject matter was. For example, if we were talking about the Earth, that was me. If we were talking about things like space and time and energy and things like that, my friend would take over. Now, how can you do that, considering where you are today? Well, we have technology now, and I would urge you to explore the idea of calling other parents that you know and asking what their talents are. You could use Skype, you can use FaceTime, and you could use Zoom if you want, and you can connect children from other households. And if you're really good with an art project, you can have other parents have their children Zoom into you, and you could do a little arts and craft project in front of them using Zoom. And after you're done with that, your other neighbor who may be very interested in history and has some wonderful maps and pictures and things could do a Zoom lesson with all the kids in the neighborhood on the history of the Second World War, just for example. I would start today, call a number of other parents who are also stuck at home and say, what are you good at? What are your skills? I'll bet you can find one that's kind of a wizard with math, and that person would be gold. I saw something interesting the other day that someone was using their bathtub or shower walls, which are very heavy plastic, with erasable markers as a whiteboard. So you could improvise, and you could take your laptop into a different room, and you can get kids from all around the neighborhood coming in and working with you in a Zoom session. Someone could be out in the back doing an exercise, so you could have physical activities. You could do that in the home as well. And by the way, it doesn't have to be just academic instruction. If you're cooking something, a recipe or something like that, a quick meal, have kids go to your version of a home economic class. If you're repairing something on the car, showing how you're working with the engine, with the laptop in the garage. Maybe you could introduce kids to some sort of tools. Take them out to your workbench and say, this is a hammer, this is a wrench, here's how it's used. So be creative. Look at things you do around the house on a day-to-day activity. Even things like cleaning the sink might be worthwhile, or doing the laundry. Use Zoom with other parents in your neighborhood to create learning activities for kids. And then, if you want to become an advanced educator, start having the kids teach each other lessons. If you've got a young person who's really good at math, have them teach other kids in the neighborhood. Just be creative. And here's another thing. Ask your students, what would you want to teach other kids using Zoom? Never be afraid to ask kids. And as I close, I'll close as I do with all my sessions. Take a deep breath. You're doing okay. One day at a time. Just put more tools into your teacher toolbox every day and grow through this yourself. This is Dr. Edward Mooney. Once again, my email address is right below here, and I'd love to hear you. If you've got ideas, if you have questions, send them to me. I'd love to do one of these videos on something you ask about. So until next time, take care. You're doing fine.